In this video, we'll talk about the thyroid hormones. And this video is dedicated for CBSE school students or NEET UG aspirants. In school, biology is taught in a boring fashion. It's generally information heavy, you think of mugging it up, and it's hard to visualize. And keeping these things in mind, in this video, I'll describe the concepts from the NCERT textbook in an interactive fashion with the help of animation. So stay tuned till the end of this video. This particular concept is taken from chapter 22 class 11 textbook, chemical coordination and integration. These are the learning goals. We will learn the thyroid hormone production, function of the thyroid hormone associated disease conditions, and lastly we'll briefly discuss about the regulation of thyroid hormone production. In this entire video, we'll strictly adhere to the NCERT guidelines, but anyway, we can delve into a bit more details in specific regions. So stay with me. The thyroid gland is composed of two lobes which are located in the either side of the trachea. Both these lobes are interconnected to each other with a thin flap known as isthmus. The thyroid gland is composed of follicles. So if we cut a cross section of this thyroid gland, it would look like this. And it has stromal and connective tissues inside it. So this is example of a thyroid follicle, and each cells lining the follicle is known as thyroid follicular cells. These are cuboidal cells that line the follicle. Inside the follicle there is colloid, and thyroid hormones are stored in an immature fashion in this particular colloid region. Now, thyroglobulin is that immature format of thyroid hormone. There are blood vessels and connective tissue. Before we delve into details, let me tell you, Unacademy has different courses for different entrance examination, including NEET UG, IIT JEE, GATE, NEET PG, CSIR NET, IIT JAM BT. And this video is also sponsored by Unacademy. You know, Unacademy is India's biggest online learning platform where several educators throughout the India would help your preparation journey. If you are worried about exam, Unacademy will get you covered. They have lectures, notes, doubt clearing sessions, which would make your life easier. Right now, if you are aiming for NEET 2022, there is a practice batch, or rather a revision batch, which is starting at March 23rd, 2022. If you need any information regarding this, you can call on this number shown in the screen. You should enroll right now. All the links associated with this is provided in the description box. Check that out. This particular batch will have practice MCQs, mock tests that would help your preparation really nicely. There is also another test known as NEET UG Combat, which is happening on March 20th, 2022 around 11 AM. There will be 28 questions and it would be 45 minutes duration. So register right now. You can download the app, register with my code AP10 and get a 10% discount. There will be a price hike soon, so definitely take the subscription within March 30. Otherwise, the price would rise. Now let's get back to the video. Now, thyroid hormone production happens in the thyroid follicle. And the signal for this production comes from the pituitary. Thyroid gland need to know when to produce the thyroid hormone. And the trigger factor is coming from the pituitary gland. From the pituitary gland, the TSH hormone or thyroid stimulating hormone binds to specific receptors on the thyroid follicular cells. This leads to secretion of thyroglobulin into the colloid. Also, there is iodine uptake from these cells, and there are specific receptors and ion channels which can allow the dietary iodine to be taken in by these cell types. Iodine is crucial for the production of thyroid hormone, and that's a piece of information you should always remember. Now, inside the colloid, there would be iodination of thyroglobulin, which would ultimately produce the thyroid hormones. And once it is produced, it is taken back inside these thyroid follicular cells and secreted eventually whenever it's required. So there are two hormones which we need to know. One is tetraiodothyronine, which has 4 iodine residues, and there is triiodothyronine, which is generally known as T3, which has 3 iodine residues. Let's talk about the function of these thyroid hormones. Thyroid hormones play an important role in the regulation of basal metabolic rate. These hormones also support the process of red blood cell formation. That means it aids in erythropoiesis. Thyroid hormones control the metabolism of carbohydrates, protein, and fat. So overall, in terms of body's metabolism, it has profound effect. Maintenance of water and electrolytic balance is also regulated and modulated by these hormones. Thyroid gland also secretes protein known as thyrocalcitonin, which regulates blood calcium level, and thereby it has impact on bones. Now let's talk about the molecular and cellular effect of thyroid hormone. So thyroid hormone receptors are sitting in the nucleus. You might have encountered this mechanism in the end of this chapter. So thyroid hormone receptors are sitting in the nucleus, but they are tagged with a repressor. That's why they cannot activate gene transcription. Whenever thyroid hormone enters the cell, and thyroid hormone can easily enter the cell, doesn't require any receptor, it can bind to this thyroid hormone receptor and ultimately replace the repressor with an activator complex and thereby start transcription. Now, thyroid receptor binds to specific region in the DNA known as hormone responsive elements. These hormone responsive elements are different from different particular receptor types. For example, it would be different from estrogen or progesterone than thyroid. Now, let's talk about the deficiency of the iodine. So, iodine deficiency in our diet can lead to hypothyroidism and enlargement of the thyroid gland, commonly known as goiter. Constant stimulation of our thyroid to release more hormones may cause the thyroid gland to become larger. Hypothyroidism during pregnancy causes defective development of the baby. So overall, it can lead to stunt growth known as cretinism. Iodine deficiency is also associated with mental retardation, low intelligence, deaf mutism, and also it has other effects such as it has abnormal skin tone, skin diseases, all of these. So overall, iodine deficiency is associated with wide variety of symptoms. When synthesis and secretion of the thyroid hormone is increased several folds abnormally high, this is known as hyperthyroidism. Previously we talked about hypothyroidism. Hyper means simply more, and hyperthyroidism can lead to several other diseases. Hyperthyroidism can also be a cause of thyroid nodule cancer. Now let's talk about the regulation of thyroid hormone secretion in bit more details. So thyroid gland doesn't secrete high level of thyroid hormone all the time. The trigger factor comes from the pituitary. So in the hypothalamus, there are thyrotropic hormones which stimulates the pituitary to give rise to thyroid stimulating hormone, and thyroid stimulating hormone activates the thyroid gland and allows its secretion of T3 and T4 hormones. But when we have very high level of T3 or T4, it gives feedback to the hypothalamus and pituitary to reduce the secretion of TSH or TRH. That means overall production of the thyroid hormone from the thyroid gland would be reduced. And this kind of regulation is really important. This regulation happens under normal situations. But in many diseases, this regulation is perturbed. This regulation goes off, and that leads to serious consequences. So I hope you understand this overall concept behind thyroid hormone. And if you need notes, you can get it in my Facebook page. There are dynamic flashcards which would help your revision purpose. And as usual, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can support my channel in Patreon. My courses are present in Unacademy. You can take my course by using my code AP10. You can get a 10% discount. Overall, my social media links are provided in the description. Feel free to connect with me. I would be really happy to help you guys. Thank you.